Alright, hello, how's it going? Welcome back to Level 3 Focus. This is the first time that I've done a solo show in months. It feels like months. I don't know that it's months, but it feels like months. It actually might have been about a month and a half. It's been a while because even before we did those EVO special shows, I actually couldn't make it for a couple of weeks. So it's been a while. I'm really happy to be back doing this. And for the first show back as just a normal by myself show in a long time, I'm actually going to be talking about one of the older games, Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. The reason that I'm bringing this game up is that Capcom is starting a series of official tournaments, the 25th anniversary tournaments. And in these tournaments are going to be Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, that's one of them, then also going to be HD Remix, Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo HD Remix, also Street Fighter 4 AE 2012, and then also Street Fighter Cross Tekken. But one of those is Third Strike. And I feel like it's the one of those games that people who watch this weekend, or who play this weekend, might not be as familiar with. So I really want to kind of bring it back into the limelight because it had its time. It was the main game, or one of the main games, one of the three main games, for a good half dozen years, I would say. About the early to mid 2000s, it was the game, and it was one of the few games, really, in the fighting game community, in the 2D fighting game community anyway, that brought in new players. In fact, now people think of it as an old man's game, but I still think of it as a kid's game, because when I came in, it was the game that the younger people were playing. So I don't know, I still have that conception of it, even though that's not entirely accurate at this point. So it's not like any other Street Fighter game. It has a couple of pretty major differences that really make it its own beast. And what I'm going to do today is first take you into training mode and just kind of talk a little bit about some of the game mechanics and various ideas of the game. And then also I want to break down some videos. So I have for you a couple of Ryu players with basically directly opposite styles to showcase the fact that you can play this game in a couple of pretty different ways. And then I have a set of MOV Chun dominating people, but in a way that really showcases the way that the game can be played and high-level play in this game. So let's go into the training mode if we can. Excellent. All right, I made sure to turn it on. So this is Third Strike Online, as you can see. I made sure to turn it on the old arcade mode, which is awesome. In this game, you can pick how the screen actually looks. So you can do it like widescreen, or you can do it like this, or you can do it normal. And I really like this because I don't know, I played this game in the arcades. This was not really a console game to me until I left California to go to law school where there was a console scene. So my memories of this game are pretty much of it looking like this. You can turn on scan lines in this, just for an added little gimmick, but I don't know, I decided to make it clearer. it would look more like I'm at home, but yeah. So I've been getting into this game. Oh yeah, if you ever have heard me tell that story about how I'm so terrible at finding details in games, and my evidence is to show that in Third Strike, I didn't know that there was a table in Chun-Li's stage for the first like 5 years that I played the game. Here's the table. It's like pretty obviously right on top of you, right? It blatantly covers up the character, but somehow I don't know, I didn't notice that for a long time. I have Chun-Li against Q. If you don't know, I played Q. That was my character. I wasn't that great in the grand scheme of things, but was probably one of the better Qs in the country, which is to say I was maybe top 5 out of 5 people. Congrats to me for being that. The main difference about this game compared to other games, other Street Fighter games, is just the parry. I guess it's not really easy to show the parry right now. There's parry training, I think, right?
Yeah, I think so. If you...
Whatever, man. I'm just gonna... Let's see. Wait, how do you do record?
You have to do it in parry.
It's in parry training,
yeah, it's
right?
only
Yeah,
in parry training.
that's right.
So exit training.
Yeah, exit training, la la.
So training,
parry training.
There you go.
Oh, wait, hold on. No, that was the wrong color. Oh, no. Oh, my God. No, this is... this freaking game. How do you go backwards in this?
I don't think you can.
You can't?
I don't think you can.
Okay, well, let's just do that again. Alright, there we go. Da-da, and then that one. Okay, cool. Dummy recording. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Whatever. So this is the main difference with this game. And the fact that you can parry anything, whether it be with a down parry or a toward parry, well, almost anything, means you have to treat the game very, very differently. It means that things that in other games would be guaranteed are not guaranteed in this game. You can, in fact, build safe jump setups in this game because there are moves that, you know, come out slowly enough that if you were to do something like this, you know, a knockdown, say you do this, and like that, you know, like you would see in Street Fighter 4, that actually could work. The problem is that all you have to do to beat that is a parry, and so there's no sense in building any setup like that. There are no guaranteed situations like that. You might be very accustomed to seeing in Street Fighter 4 and similar games that once you get a knockdown, you pretty much can start your offense, and in this game, it's really not like that. When you're playing your offense, say a knockdown Q, and I'm going to go up here and try to play some games on him, I'm taking a risk, and there's no way to get away from that. Everything that you do in this game, whether it be a jump or, you know, a mix-up, up close, those are all risks, not just for the person attacking, or not just for the defender, but also for the person attacking. And that means you have to treat the game pretty differently. Another thing to know about this game is that hit confirms are extremely important. Chun-Li, for example, man, now I want to turn it off parry training.
Go to training options. I think you can turn it off, or
I don't think so.
auto pairing. Oh, but it is off.
Oh, here we go. Let's see. Dummy recording. Okay, can I do this? Parry training. Can I just keep it like this now? Okay, rad. So, like I was saying, hit confirms are really, really important. And, wow, this is just not easy to... Alright, sweet. That means that footsies are super important. Not necessarily for a character like Q, because he doesn't have any hit confirms from footsie range, other than just dash punch. But for somebody like Chun-Li, walking around with her crouching medium kick, or her back fierce, that kind of thing, it's super, super important. And that means, because you can cancel into super and take off a ton of life, that means that the footsie range is really, really important. But combined with the fact that you have a parry, let's do this. Distance games are not really the same thing as in other kinds of games, because like you can see, I can just parry that fireball. And while that does freeze me for a little bit and allows the opponent to kind of set up some situations for himself, distance games are not really the same as in other ones. So this game tends to be fought at about footsie range for the most part. There are some characters who are different than that, but for the most part, you want to be at about the range where you feel that your character's footsies are stronger than the other ones. You know, this, if I'm Q, this, depending on the matchup, not against Chun-Li. Well, certainly not that one either. You know, there are buttons that every character wants to be using, and that's about the range that you want to sit because of both the parry and the strength of the hit confirm. This is a very footsie and mix-up heavy game. Like I said, it's basically fought here or within that range. Most of the action that you're going to see is there. So it's kind of different in that respect because there's not really a Dhalsim-like character. There is a character, Necro, who has these very far-range normals. But because of the parry and because of, well, the fact that some of them are pretty unsafe in some matchups, you don't really see that all that often. Instead, he's more of an up-close character because that's how the game engine kind of makes him play. You also have to really know what's safe and unsafe in this game. So I don't really know how to set this up at this point, but let's see. See if I can get this going. In this game, you need to know what is safe and unsafe because it's a super important mechanic. There are very fast startup supers. Let's see. Maximum. Okay, infinity. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, sweet. So this move from Q, the slaps, that's normally safe. But against a character like Chun-Li, with a very, very fast super, it's not. And you need to know that, because that factors in a lot of different ways. Q, with his own super, needs to know that, for example, he can punish a Shoto sweep, or that he can punish, I don't know, lots of other things in the game. There's too many to mention. And Chun-Li needs to know that she can punish other stuff, because that's the strength of supers in this game, and of other things like Dragon Punches or just a short or a 2-frame crouching jab if you have that, if you're Chun-Li. You have to know that really factors in. And so all of these differences that are in this game and not so much in other games, certainly the parry is its own thing. The fact that hit confirms are so important is sort of its own thing. And then, knowing what is safe and unsafe. This was really the first time in Street Fighter 3, in the Street Fighter 3 series, that this became an important mechanic for Street Fighter. It had been there to some extent before, but in this game, there are enough things that are unsafe or safe, depending on whether you have super or not, or that it's kind of its own thing as well. So all of those things really add up to being quite a different game. It adds up to a game that has a lot of freedom. If you like to know, if you like blowing up your opponent because you know what your opponent is going to do, then this game is for you. Because if you know what your opponent is going to do, then you have the tools to defeat it. You have parries, and you have strong hit confirms into pretty damaging supers. And that means that any mistake in this game, whether it be a whiff in footsies, or whether it be just a wrong guess, are punished very, very severely. Not just with the fact that you take damage, but the fact that now your opponent is going to be in your face, or gets to set up basically whatever situation he or she wants. That's very, very dangerous situations. And I just want to impress upon you how dangerous some of these situations are. In my mind, as a longtime Third Strike player, seeing about that range, if I'm Q, I am so worried right now. This is the worst range possible. I don't even know if I can express how in my heart there's this kind of dread about this range. I hate this. At this range, Q can't. He has terrible options. His best option is to either just jump back, or try to move back, or to crouch block, or to just kind of safely neutral jump, something like that. He doesn't really have any good options. The reason it's so dangerous is that Chun-Li has such excellent options to get into this very easy to hit confirm into super. She has crouching medium kick, which, as you can see, lowers her so low. She has this excellent back fierce, which, again, I know it doesn't look like it, but imagine this thing just completely sucking away any hittable hitbox that she might have and replacing it with something very active that's so dangerous to get around. This game has a lot of situations like that, and it's full of danger, but at the same time full of a kind of freedom, because you can blow the other person up if you know what they're going to do, that are both, I think, to a large extent, kind of missing from a lot of other games. It's really interesting in that respect. God, this matchup. Oh, what? You can block? Weird. That was weird.
How did he block?
I'm not sure how he blocked. Yeah. Yeah, so anyway, like I said, I just wanted to do a quick introduction of the game and impress upon you some of the most important things to look for, being in particular the footsies or the parries and the footsies. But now I'd really like to show you some videos of high-level play. And we'll get to that after the break, but I just want to introduce the first two that I'm going to show. The first two are of two different Ryu players playing against Chun-Li players. And the reason that I've picked these two is that they have very, very different styles. And I think that it's so cool to see that you can play the game in two very, very different ways. Vanao is a player who is just a barbarian. He will do whatever, whenever. And sometimes it's kind of hard to understand exactly what he's thinking or why he's really willing to take a certain risk. But he is nevertheless one of the best Ryu players in the world. On the other side of things is Ryu, who has a very patient Ryu, very footsie-based. He will take some risks now and then, but for the most part, he is much more cautious. And he is also one of the best Ryu players. So these two very different styles can both coexist into a single character, and that's something that you see not just with Ryu. I just happen to pick Ryu as an example because Vanao is known to be this crazy barbarian dude. But you can have this kind of style with anybody, and or this difference in styles with anybody. Like, for example, I could have picked Kuroda Q, who is a very, very patient, very defensive player, or I could have picked TM, who is a much more active style, much more risk-taking style. And that kind of disparity is something that you see with every character. This game affords a level of difference in play style that I think that few others do. So, like I said, I'm going to take a quick break, and when I come back, I want to break down those Ryu matchups. See you in a bit. Hey, welcome back to Level 3 Focus. We're talking about Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, aka 3S, aka Threes. Just because upcoming this weekend is the Capcom 25th Anniversary Tournament where you'll get to see this game, and I just wanted to reintroduce it. I myself have been spending a lot of time playing this game since EVO, getting back into it, and I'd like to share that with you. So let's go to the video, if possible. Sweet. This is going to be, like I said before, Ryu versus Haitani, actually. No, don't start quite yet. Okay. Haitani is the Chun. Nowadays, he is a Street Fighter 4 Makoto player, but actually, a lot of these guys are now Street Fighter 4 players, as we'll see later. But Haitani in this game was an extremely strong player, definitely one of the best for a long period of time. His Chun, super strong. And like I said, Ryu, watch out for a lot of what he does. I'm going to be pausing it frequently to point out, you know, individual tactics and ideas that he goes with, but just pay attention to the fact that he seems like he's not going crazy. Okay, that's what to keep in mind here. Let's start playing it. All right. So like I said, there's this range in front of Chun-Li that's very, very dangerous to be, and you'll notice that Ryu does not want to spend that much time there. When Chun doesn't have super, she's not that dangerous. She still has great normals. They still take up great spots on screen and are safe, and they're excellent. But they don't lead to much damage, because without super and without charge, she doesn't really have that much in the way of damage output. So you'll notice that right now, Ryu, you know, he did start off patiently, but he's going in there. Now that she has super, he has to play very patiently. And if he doesn't, like that, then Haitani can get at him. So he's going to get up there again. And yeah, look at the style. It's kind of a zoning style. Actually, you know, I guess go back. Let's go back just a little bit. Just go back to the start of the round. There's a lot. Okay. Yeah. So like I said, just pay attention. Or I guess at the start we're a little bit past that. But he was playing a very zoning style of game. Try to establish that and try to not be in those ranges where that stand fierce and crouching strong or crouching forward, crouching strong, back fierce, etc. She just has all these amazing normals that you really have to be worried about. All right, so let's see here. Yeah, all right. Go back to that, to where Haitani's just kind of dancing in front of Ryu. This is something you don't really see in other games. Footsies are super important in this game, but footsies don't only take place by pressing buttons. That's really an unusual thing in this game, is that you can have footsies without buttons. So back up a little bit more. Okay, yeah, so just start here. This is fine. So Haitani dashes up and is going to go for a throw, but when it doesn't work out, you know, notice what he does.
Sorry that the thing is in the
way. Just press play. Whatever.
Okay.
All right, so you notice that he pressed down. He ducked. There are two ways to input parry. It's toward, if a normal takes up a space on screen that that a toward would work for. That is to say, if they're a little bit higher up physically on screen, or if they're but a down will beat anything that is a little bit lower on screen, including actual low attacks or a crouching strong, as you can see. Also, for some reason, any jabs or shorts, even if you're Chun-Li against Q and you can actually duck Chun-Li or Q's stand jab, it still counts, or a pause it. Just, yeah. Anyway, what he was doing in that situation is playing footsies without buttons. He is pressing down in expectation that there's going to be a low attack coming from Ryu. And Ryu doesn't actually take the bait the first time, but he does the second time, and he lost a lot of damage for it, or lost a lot of life for it. It's that little mix-up that can come at any point in this game. Not just when you're on knockdown, not just when you jump, but even if you're in footsie range, you still have to be worried to some extent about the parry and what it can mean. And so as you saw there, as soon as Haitani got that Chun super, he got a little bit of offense going because he knew how dangerous his offense is with that super. If he gets any hit confirm, like with a back fierce or crouching forward or a couple other things, he can go into huge damage, and that's exactly what happened. So let's, I don't know. Yeah, let's go to round 2, I guess. Ooh, nice. Key commands.
Yeah, now I gotta learn to do that.
Yeah, for sure. So again, Rue... Yeah, okay, so here is Chun-Li at her full power. And you see Rue does not want to get involved in that whole space in front of her that I was talking about before. He has the same dread in his body that I have at just thinking about being within that range. So he does everything that he can to not be there. He wants to try to play it from afar. That could have been a very late canceled crouching medium kick. Also could have been canceled into super. Luckily for Rue, they were not. And Haitani just tries to get away. Backdashes are not invincible in this game. He just jumped away. Could have been hit out of it, but I guess just missed time from Rue. So again, Rue has spent all this time not being in that range. And Haitani gets in there, plays some offense because he knows about the strength of her super, and pays off. But you could see how Rue was playing cautiously, did not want to get involved, had to get involved ultimately. All right, let's go. So we're starting off this round with a Chun at basically not quite full power because she's most dangerous when she has 2, but you know at a range where she can do a lot of business. You see up there in the corner here, but back up. Or wait, no, you got to back up more.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There it was.
Yeah, okay, so remember what I was saying about footsies without buttons? You see what he's doing here? Those little kind of pivots around, that's not for nothing. He's not just walking back and forth like in Street Fighter 4 or Super Turbo or something. He's actually looking specifically for parries there and to try to hit confirm. And again, Rue knows the power of that SA2 and her ways to get into it. He was willing to take those throws to get caught in the corner. Luckily for him, Haitani just screws up and sets up a totally different situation here now. And while she doesn't have super, he's trying to get in there and cause some damage. This is really his best time. This matchup for a lot of characters is very black and white. If Chun-Li has super, then it's totally different. Yeah, you can see one of her little advantages there. She's actually so short that she ducks under things that hit most other characters. So now look at this. He's trying to play so patiently. He is so worried. Anything will do it. Anything will do. He just can't get hit. Oh, no! Oh, the pain. The pain. It's so dangerous, that range. He was really trying to not get involved with that. It was the whole game plan, right? Was to not get involved in that. But it's just not easy to not get involved in that. And there was a little bit of a mix-up there towards the end with the timing. Haitani had done crouching medium kick and then kind of backed off a couple of times. That time he did crouching medium kick. Then, Rue, having seen the back off before, went for the EX Fireball, maybe hoping to chip out or at least just put her in parry stun. So that he could set up whatever he wanted. But Haitani had the mix-up right and did crouching medium kick again. Easy hit confirm into SA2, and that's the game. So, patient Ryu style, you could see that he was very concerned about the spacing of things, very concerned about not getting involved too much in dangerous situations, at least as far as he could. Now let's switch over to a totally different style of Ryu, and I think you'll be able to see it pretty quickly. Vanao versus, I forget who the Chun-Li player is here. Kenji. Is pretty different. His style's pretty different, so let's get this going. He has a slightly different Ryu color. And he's playing with SA3, which is a very mix-up heavy super. It's Denjin. We'll see it later on. I'll fully explain it then. But you can see already, look at how he's trying to get in there. He had the sweep early on. I don't think you ever saw a sweep from Rue the entire time, and we've already seen 2. Because it's a risk. Yeah, there it is. Look, dash up, crouching fierce. dash up parry options like crouching fierce is really what it is, but you can see he's really trying to maintain control of this corner. He's lost a lot of life just because he's been punished on stuff. And again, he goes for a very unsafe throw situation, and he gets punished. Trying to battle back out of the corner. And yeah, probably trying to look for a parry there, because that's what he does. That's how he plays this game. Let's go back to the earlier part of this round when there was Denjin. No, a little bit earlier than this. Yeah, it comes up pretty soon. Okay, so here it is. Just pause. That's fine. So the way that Denjin works in this game is it causes a huge amount of stun, or it's unblockable. It causes a lot of stun, as you can see. Here, press play. Check out her stun bar at the top. Right, it goes up pretty drastically. That's the whole point of SA3 is it's a mix-up. You put the fireball out when you think that the opponent is not ready to parry. Of course, you can parry it. And that's what people try to do. But it's a mix-up on when the super is actually going to come out, because you can hold it and release it and charge it longer and have it do more hits and make it safer and all that stuff. The major point to get across is just that it's a mix-up super. And if it pays off, it stuns the opponent and you get to deal a big damage combo afterward that builds you an entire EX. So it can be pretty strong, but you have to play a Ryu style that is a little bit riskier. We didn't see Ryu go for this super. It was considered not a great super until Frankie 3S in the US made it look solid, and only after that, even in Japan, was it really adopted. So alright, let's let this run out. Look at this guy. You see that? He was standing up for that crouching forward kick from Kenji. And he didn't have a button out. He was just trying to press toward, looking for something. Something you really have to grow to look for in this game is what exactly people are looking for at all times. So there's that crouching medium kick into Tatsu for some reason. He's really in there. He's parrying. He's trying to be close. Here comes the Denjin again. All right, pause. Another thing about this game is that there are resets out of the air. Like in Street Fighter 4, if you were to hit somebody with a jab, anti-air in Street Fighter 4, they kind of have this flip back animation. But in Third Strike, during that flip back animation, you can actually be hit, but only by supers. And they're still parryable. You can parry them on your way down. But that's something you have to look out for. That's actually what happened in this case. Vanao just had a really good hit confirm with the Denjin. Here, go back. What was the setup for this Denjin again? Did he just do it?
He just happened.
Yeah, he just sort of did it, right? Didn't even have a knockdown, really. Yeah, so he just puts a fireball out to put... Or you can just play it.
She jumps and gets hit.
Right, so he's just looking to put his opponent into block stun with this, or even parry stun, something. But luckily for him, it hits. He was willing... He was willing to have that blocked. And if Chun-Li guesses right on the timing of the release for that Denjin, she could just straight up jump over him and punish with a land, normal into super for a ton of damage. She could guess right on the parry timing to punish him. All these ways to punish him, but he's willing to take that risk. And as you can see, look at the life bar that he has on the right side of the screen. That riskier style pays off. So let's go on. So look at him. He's so not worried about that. He just lost so much life, but it doesn't seem to be that big of a problem for him. Looking for neutral jump roundhouse, expecting her to do the wall jump out. Oh, this time she does do wall jump out. Going for throws. There's that sweep. Again, it's not safe. He's looking for footsies without buttons. There's footsies with buttons, and it catches him. So pretty obvious, right? The distinct style differences between Ryu and Vanao. And although they both lose, I wanted to highlight the fact that these are both two of the best Ryu players in the world, and have been for a long time. There are videos of them you can find from like 2005 up until today. That show them being awesome and dominating people. I just happened to pick two where they lost. I don't know, whatever. But I just wanted to find them against the same characters that I could kind of explain how they face the same character in very, very different ways. And the way that the game works allows them both to have these distinct styles. Vanao can be playing that way because of the way that the game works with all the mix-ups. Everything can be a mix-up. And you can see he is trying to parry a lot. He's kind of downsy, he's kind of towardsy. But he also guesses right a lot, and if you are pretty confident in the way that you can read your opponent, then you can really blow people up in this game. He does have good spacing, of course. He does have, good fundamentals, but he's willing to take these risks more often than a lot of other people are, and in part because of that, he is one of the best. But Rue has a totally different style. You could see he was doing a lot of this. He was crouch blocking a lot whenever Chun had super. He was in fact willing to take like 3 throws, I think, consecutively rather than risk getting hit by a hit confirm into super. He wanted to stay away from Chun. He had this totally different style because the game is also very footsie based. And if you have a strong sense of where your normals are, a strong sense of spacing, and a strong sense of when the opponent is going to use certain normal attacks, then you can do really, really well too. So there are these 2 different ways to succeed, and I think that they're really well shown by this. I mean, you can think of players that have very different styles for a lot of the characters. I thought about bringing out Oro and having Thanatos with like empty jump, crouching, medium kick into flash kick with Oro. I mean, that sounds crazy, but he makes it work in some way. So there are these very risky players in this game, but then there are also very cautious players who just get by on awesome sense of fundamentals. All right. So, very different styles, and I also have another video here that I want to show you after this. It's actually from SBO, which is going to be coming up next month, but this is from an SBO, I think in 2006, where MOV plays some really, really strong matches against KO Yun, against Nuki Chun-Li, and against Kokujin Dudley that I really want to show off because they show a lot of what the very highest level of this game can be. All right, let's take a break. Alright, welcome back to Level 3 Focus. We're talking about Street Fighter 3 Third Strike today, and I just showed off some very different styles that 2 Ryu players have, and they use them to be 2 of the best Ryu players, despite the fact that they're very different. Now I want to show what the game is like at the absolute tippy-top highest level of play. This is actually from a little while ago. It's not actually a recent video. So there have been some changes in some other the way that some other characters have played, but I think this is from 2006, and the game at that point had pretty much been figured out as far as the top tiers go, which is, well, Dudley's not exactly top tier, but as far as the top to high tier characters go, most of them have been figured out. Since then, some things have changed. Hugo has moved up in the tiers, for example, but most of the techniques were pretty much known. So I want to show a clip from Super Battle Opera 4, I think. In 2006. This is MOV Chun-Li, who plays against KO Yun, and then Nuki Chun-Li, and then Kokujin Dudley. The reason that I want to show this is that it just shows, I like the fact that there's a Chun versus Yun, a Chun versus Chun, and then a Chun versus Dudley, because those are some very common matchups that you'll see, and they're played pretty differently, each one of them. So you'll get to see very different responses from MOV to each one of these matchups. I also... I actually asked Face from North Carolina about his favorite matches that he has in Third Strike, and this is the one that he came up with because he thinks that it shows a really strong use of all of the game mechanics, and I agree. I think that it's really cool. But I also think it's cool that we get to show MOV because people might nowadays know MOV for playing in Street Fighter 4. He has a good Ken. I think he made top 32 at EVO, actually, but has never really won EVO or anything, or won SBO with that character. But back in Third Strike, this guy was so powerful that he actually played in SBO with a broken right hand, and his team still won SBO, and he did have to play. It's not like he didn't have to play at all. I think he played towards the end, in the finals or something, but he won. With a broken hand, with the hand that presses buttons, he won. So this is a super strong player in this game. He knows the game inside and out, and I really want to show the fact that players that you see nowadays do have history in fighting games. We saw Haitani earlier, and now we see MOV. I think that it's really cool to be able to understand where players come from and to know what they did in previous games, to understand how they're playing in current ones. So, okay, let's go over to the video. There you go. 2006 SBO, when it was the king of the world in terms of tournaments. Not exactly the case nowadays. KO Yun. Okay, let's I guess pause it because I didn't talk about Yun at all. Yun is another one of the top tier characters in this game. It's Chun-Li and Yun probably are the two best characters in this game, and Yun is one of the best characters in this game basically because of Ganejin. His SA3 is really, really good. It affords him pressure whenever he has it that is almost guaranteed damage each time. It is built up very, very quickly. He has the ability to build up bar very fast to use it. And even in addition to Ganejin, he's still a strong character. I don't know that he would be top tier without that, but he's still strong with, dive kicks. This is really the first example of a top tier dive kick character, I think, right? Pretty much, yeah. So he, well, other than Dalsum, whose drills were used in slightly different ways, but yeah, it's kind of the modern dive kick here for the first time, and he's really good. So you'll see MOV have to deal with his dive kick a lot, and with the fact that he's going to be able to build Ganejin meter, and the fact that he has some decent normals, but they're not really, for the most part, can't really compete that well with Chun-Li. So all right, let's get going. He definitely wants to be in one of two positions: playing offense up close or building meter far away. And as I said, already he's only 10 seconds into the round. He already has meter for this. And check out the way that, wow, that's so ridiculous. Check out the way that MOV reacts. Pause. So he backed up as far as he could because he knows, okay, you know what? I'm probably going to get hit at least a little bit, but I want to run out the clock. It's kind of a clock run out situation. It's sort of like if somebody has level 3 X Factor, you want to run it out in some ways if you can. Hey, I might get hit, but I'm going to do what I can to only get hit by the dregs of it, by the last little bit. And he actually did get hit, but, he ran away and did an amazing job of parrying for a little bit there. It was a reset situation, and like I said, you can get hit during those resets with supers, and all of his buttons are considered a super during Ganejin. So, all right, let's get back into it. So yeah, he's going for this pressure. Footsies without buttons again. You can see whenever a character ducks like that. All right, so let's go back towards the end of that round, because this is a very important concept in Third Strike: the option select. It is not at all the case that option selects are new in Street Fighter 4. They're used in a different way, kind of, in Street Fighter 4, because they're used to ensure meaty pressure, to ensure that the opponent blocks, because if you do a safe jump, roundhouse, option select, dragon punch in case of backdash, you're basically forcing the opponent to stay still. They're not often used in kind of regular situations, but they are used all the time in Third Strike in regular situations, especially with the parry. So towards the end of this round, MOV Chun-Li does something called SGGK, which stands for some Japanese phrase that I don't remember the name of. But SGGK is basically one of the dirtiest option selects in this game, and really of any option select ever. If you, what you do is you input parry, then Kara throw. Kara throw just being a normal, which you cancel the startup frames of, into a regular throw. How that comes out: if the opponent is doing nothing at all, you'll get your Kara throw. You'll throw them. If the opponent sticks out a normal, you'll parry and then come out with the button that you pressed for the Kara throw. So if you're Chun-Li, you come out and you're always doing roundhouse, Kara cancel, throw, you'll come up with close stand roundhouse, which is super cancelable, as you can see. And then if the opponent, let's see, there was one other situation. If the opponent is there, if the
roundhouse is super jump cancel. That's how you do it.
Right, yeah. You super jump cancel the roundhouse into super. Man, what was the third one? Now I feel like an idiot. But there is a third option in there that's super good. I don't know, man. All right. Apparently I'm super dumb. I can't recall. If you know, let me know, because I feel like a complete idiot. Yeah, no, I know, but I just, if you know, watching the stream, God, I can't remember what freaking SGGK is. Good job, me. I'm going to be commentating this game this weekend. That'll go well. In any case, it's really dirty, and yeah, that's exactly what happens. So he actually got the parry. Boom. Close down roundhouse. You super jump cancel it into super. He wins the round. Oh, yeah, and I guess, yeah, so if they throw, then you throw tech. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. All right, so in any case, STGK takes the round. Just wanted to introduce the concept of supers. So pay attention to the way the Ganesian pressure works. All right, he maintains it for a while. Stop. He maintains it for a while, and he has really good options for dealing damage. So let's go through it again. So a low because he has a command grab out of which he can deal a ton of damage, and so you don't necessarily want to get thrown by the command grab. But if you try to jump away, as you could see, he got hit by a crouching short in there as well. Yeah. Makes his opponent go into block stun before setting it up. Actually whiffed on the command grab. I think the opponent was still in stun. Couldn't get it. But yeah, that is super damaging. Super, definitely the best thing in the game. And yeah, now he has the knockdown again and right back into it. So pay attention to what he does. Okay, he actually does a palm into command grab and gets all the damage that I was talking about. You can just, it's fine, you can just run it. Just remember that it was a palm into command grab. That goes into very, very strong damage. Ton of life lost for MOV. Goes for Kara throws. Chun-Li has the best Kara throw in the game, tied with Q. Totally awesome. Alright, so now again, MOV has to try to get away. But remember, last time, KO did the palm into command grab. This time, MOV probably expects something like that again, and instead Yun does the palm into close stand medium kick for the launch into death. So okay, anti-air crouching round, medium kick. Tries to maintain the corner. He does. SGGK ends it. Blown up. All right, blown up. Okay, so let's go back through this last round. At the start of the round, I want to show the jump that yeah, go back. That's fine. Just let it run. It's cool. So in this game there is trip guard. That is to say, if you empty jump and you hold down back when you land, you can always block. You cancel your landing frames into block. But if you jump with a normal, as you can see, he's jumping with jump roundhouse, you can't do that. And Chun-Li's crouching medium kick is really, really good at blowing that kind of stuff up. She can maintain corner control really, really well. Couple of guesses with that jump toward, try to maintain corner position. She does. Goes for the reset into the corner, and then SGGK for the win again. That ridiculous option select that Chun-Li takes advantage of better than just about anybody else. Really, really strong exploitation of the way that the game engine works by MOV. And now we have Nuki, who looks very young there. If you watch any Third Strike videos nowadays, he's probably the guy who you're listening to. He has a really awesome commentary style where he's just goes totally nuts and yells like crazy for any like dragon punch or crouching medium kick. It's awesome. It's really cool to see. This game or this matchup. Yeah, all right. MOV is pretty good at things. Yeah, that's pretty good. This matchup is a footsie matchup. All right. Let's see. I'm gonna get the kill at some point. I just want to look for a pause. There it is. All right. So just pause. This is a footsie matchup. They both have the best set of footsie normals in the game, and they both have excellent cancels into super. They're the same character. So that's really what it turns into. There are some situations where you want to be up close. If you need to make a comeback, then you want to do that. But if you are playing this matchup normally, then you want to be at footsie range trying to outplay the other person with your sense of spacing and with your sense of timing on when to press a button or when to press a parry. And you can see that there by MOV. And he brings out normals that you didn't, and options, I should say, that you didn't really get to see much against KO. Some normals that he didn't really get to use that much because they're not that great in that matchup, but that are very important in the Chun-Li matchup, like Far Stand Fierce and Crouching Strong and Kazanchu. So, alright, go back into the next one. That's MOV. That's Nuki. God, he looks so young.
He does look young.
Wow. Nuki in the gray. Also, definitely one of the best Chun-Li players of all time. Still very, very solid with her. Yeah, you can see the way that they're dancing back and forth, meter building with whiffs, and MOV willing to back his opponent up. Now he has the huge advantage. This is not an even matchup right now at all. Because he has super, and Nuki doesn't have super, he can take these extra risks. He can keep his opponent cornered because he knows his opponent does not want to take risks in trying to get out. Alright, so now he has his own super. He can immediately take more or get better options, and he does, and he uses that to get back out. bam! God, he knew exactly. And he's actually been fishing for it. Pause. I guess we could go back and look at that last round. We don't really need to, but there were times when MOV... Okay, back up, I guess? Okay, so watch his corner control. Yeah, you see that down right there? Right there? That's perfect timing, because that's exactly what I wanted to show. He had it down right there, and it was that footsie without buttons idea. Now keep that in mind. There it is. He looked for it again. He didn't work out the first time. Nuki knew that was coming. He didn't throw anything out, but MLV immediately got back to that situation, threw out the parry in expectation, and got it. And he takes down another one of the best Chun-Li players in what is really one of the best Chun-Li mirrors that you could hope to see. All right, so now Kokujin. This is so cool, man, because KO is one of the best Yuns of all time, and then Nuki, one of the best Chun-Li's, and Kokujin, again, one of the best Dudley players of all time. Dudley in this matchup, he needs to be in there, because if he doesn't, he just does not have the normals to deal with Chun-Li at footsie range. She dominates him so strongly at that range that he has to be up close, making her guess high-low and throw, which he can do very, very well, and he can take off a ton of life. And he has, basically a couple of supers at this point. Any hit will give that to him, and he could be very dangerous with her with that. But he knows that look at his options. I mean, look at what he must think his options are right now, considering the fact that Chun-Li has crouching medium kick and stand fierce and crouching strong and stand strong, which just destroy him. And he needs to try to get in, but he is having such a tough time doing it. Looking for stand roundhouse buffer in the EX machine gun or super, or I guess really ducking into super. Yeah, I mean he's trying to play this patient game, because he knows that if he gets the knockdown, he can deal a lot of damage, but it's just so hard to get there. I almost feel like it's a Q sort of situation where Q doesn't really have great options. Yeah, look at that. I mean, his crouching roundhouse, gets him a lot of damage, but it takes a little while to come out, and the hitbox on it is not that awesome, and so she just blows it up. And now he's back to this spot again, where it's so bad. And MOV is doing a great job, to his credit, of making sure that he maintains that spot on screen. Here, actually, back up for a while. Just go back to the start of this round, actually, if you can. I'm sure that's fine. Pay attention when Kokujin starts to sort of threaten a little bit. Kokujin sort of gets to a range where his normals are not terrible. And yeah, it just happened a couple of times. And MOV jumped back. He wanted to get specifically back to the range where he knows that his character blows up his opponents. Yeah, you see, he's jumping back to try to make sure that he gets the ability to get to that excellent range where his footsies are so good. Kokujin really just fishing for stuff at this point. He knows he doesn't have good options. He finally takes a dash. It's a risk. He knows it. It doesn't pay off, and MOV's amazing sense of spacing pay off. Yeah. That's cool. So I like that clip because it shows off a lot of stuff about the game that's important. If you're going to watch this weekend, to be perfectly honest, you're probably going to see a lot of Chun. She is not an easy character to play. I think that personally, I think the easiest character to play is Ken. But Chun-Li is a common character, especially if you haven't played the game for very long, which we might actually end up seeing, that somebody comes into the game without having played in a while and goes to Chun. That is what we saw at UFGT when there was the Third Strike tournament, and Chun's did pretty well. Yun is really good, of course. Kokujin is really good. What? Oh, what's going on this weekend? I'm sorry, I mentioned that before, but just to reiterate, Capcom is having a tournament. They're starting their own tournament series. There are going to be, I think, 4 of them, if I recall correctly. I could be wrong about that. But the first one is this weekend. It's in Austin, Texas, and it's going to have 4 games. One of them is Third Strike, which is why I'm showing this. The other are HD Remix, and then also Street Fighter Cross Tekken and Street Fighter 4. So if you're going to watch this weekend, you probably are going to see a lot of the characters that showed up on the screen. Dudley is one of the higher tier characters. He's not one of the top tiers, but he's one of the better characters in the game. Also just very popular because he's cool. A lot of people like him, so you'll probably see him as well. If you see Yuns are super dangerous. They're some of the best players ever have been Yuns, certainly in the U.S. That's the case. Pyro Lee, and a few other examples. But We'll see. The clip was also a really strong example of uses of the game engine and of knowledge of characters. So we saw the awesome use of the SGGK option select, which includes parries and carry throws in it. We saw the blow up of if somebody gets rid of their own trip guard while in the air. Awesome job delaying the cancel with crouching medium kick. Chun-Li's crouching forward kick is actually not a link. It's a very, very delayed cancel. For some reason, she could just cancel her crouching medium kick later than most other characters can. And so you see the use of that. Just excellent sense of spacing in that clip as well. So it's really a great example of what the game can be. You saw a lot of space control, but it's at this particular range where it's very footsie based, and you saw a lot of mix-ups all the time. And that's really what this game is about, is those two things. So keep that in mind for when you watch this weekend. And if you like Third Strike, please check out the Shend on YouTube. The THE Shend, SHEND. Definitely one of the most committed uploaders of any fighting game match video footage online. He's been doing it for a long time. His list of videos, I think he actually reached his 4,000th video recently. Like he has a crazy number of videos on there going back for a long time with every matchup and every character. Please go check that out and subscribe to him. His game Third Strike is no longer the biggest game in the scene, but he still loves it and gets a lot of good action for it. So go check that out at youtube.com/theshen. Also, please check out Third Strike Online. It's available for play on both Xbox and PlayStation. You can also play Third Strike on GGPO if you'd like to check that out. I've actually been playing it recently. I should say I don't want to lead people into thinking that I've always been a Third Strike fan. It was my main game between about 2002 and 2007 or 8. But for a long period of time, I actually hated the game. I really got sick of the fact that the parry required that you constantly mix things up. But actually, since Evo and when I've started getting back into Third Strike in expectation of the Capcom tournaments, I've actually really gotten back into the game. And I don't know, maybe you can tell, but I'm a lot more pumped about the game than I was just a couple of months ago, because I realized that I missed the sense of freedom that you get from the game and the importance of the footsie game. Footsie's obviously very important in Street Fighter 4, but in a lot of matchups they're kind of a little simpler. Idon presses stand roundhouse, for example. You can see even Chun-Li with the best footsies in the game needs to be pressing at least 3 buttons just to make it work against almost everybody. And I really enjoy those two things. It's a game where if you are terrible and you play somebody good, you get blown up like crazy. It is a destruction, and it can be really hard to get past the fact that you get eaten up alive like in no other game. It certainly has been annoying to me as I've been trying to get a little bit better at the game again, that I just get blown up. And I noticed that I have habits from other games that don't work in this game, like mashing. It's not a masher game. But it's really fun getting back into it, and I'm really glad for the excuse to do so. So, yeah, pretty cool stuff. All right, so I'm going to take a break. I want to do a very quick Ask UltraDavid when I come back. Not going to be too many questions answered, just a few. So that'll be after this. All right, welcome back to Level 3 Focus. With regard to this whole Street Fighter 3 thing at the Capcom tournament, I guess we haven't said that officially, but James and I are actually going to be the commentators for this. We are going to be there at Austin. We're flying in Friday night, and the tournament will be Saturday day and Sunday day. It will be streamed, obviously. We'll get all that information out to you. Actually, you know what? Earlier today, there was a big post on the front page of shoryuken.com where you can find out all that info. We will be there. It'll be Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo HD Remix, which we know really well, obviously. Third Strike, which I used to know really well and have been getting back into. Street Fighter 4, which we know really well, and Street Fighter Cross Tekken, which I feel like I know really well. I actually spent a lot more time than I think a lot of other people did looking for technology in that game. So Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that game too because I really hope that people have people will show up who have really invested into it because the Street Fighter or the Evo finals in that game were a disappointment. The players who were there, other than Infiltration and Laugh, were there because they were godlike Street Fighter players and not necessarily good Street Fighter Cross Tekken players. So I'm hoping to see some good stuff this weekend in that and in Third Strike and in HDR, which we don't get to see very often at all. So check that out. So I wanted to do a little bit of an Ask UltraDavid. Didn't have that many questions, but just kind of wanted to clean out ones. Like I said, I haven't been able to do a level 3 focus on my own for a while, and I just wanted to clean out a couple of things. The questions that I get tend to be different than the ones that James gets, which tend to be gameplay based and such. The ones that I get tend to be about like legality and general questions of morality and stuff like that. So yes, actually from Secret Chan says that he'd like my take on the morality of looking at hands and buttons during matches. He feels it's a lot like stealing signs in baseball. Everyone thinks you're a scumbag when they catch you doing it, but everybody does it anyway. I don't think listening to buttons is considered distasteful because nobody complains about it. I am totally down with looking at buttons. In my opinion, everything should be within limits in a match other than physically interfering with your opponent. I feel like if you have any way to glean information from the opponent, whether it be in-game or out of game, that you should use it. And I talk all the time about how I pay attention to people's body language and the way that they seem to be reacting to something in their person, physically, not just with their gameplay. I always make sure, both when I'm commentating and when I'm playing, that I pay attention to that because it's often a tell. You can see when people feel slumped, when they're kind of, playing like this and, oh, man, like that. Or you can see when somebody is super into it, right? And like in here and their shoulders are kind of hunched forward and they're paying attention very closely. They're really into it. You can really see that difference. And I don't feel that listening to button presses or even faking button presses are anything different than that. It's just sending or receiving signals that your opponent gives off. And I feel that they should be fully within bounds. I was really amused and impressed by the Cafe ID special table that they set up so that I don't know if you saw Evo, the KOF top 8, when the Cafe ID players played, they had a special table that had their stick on it, but it also had like a little stand with their shirt on it that barred the opponent from watching what they were doing. There was a little bit of backstory on that, it turned out. When Bala and Mad KOF played the day before, there was a Korea versus Mexico a money match. And Bala blew everybody up. And it turns out that the Korean players had kind of a powwow about it and realized that one of the things that Bala was doing to beat them was paying very close attention to the opponent's button presses and kind of faking his own button presses, which is true. He does do that. I've seen him do it at home a lot. And so they came up with this bit of technology to restrict Bala from doing that. And according to them, it was one of the reasons why Mad KOF beat Bala in the grand finals of KOF the next day, that Bala could not use that advantage that he was so used to using. So if you as a player get too accustomed to paying attention to button presses, then that's not a good thing. But if you use it for what it really is, which is just a little bit of extra information about your opponent, then I think that that's great. I understand obviously that there are players who are not used to doing that. If you come from Korea or from Japan or even from some of the US arcades, you might not be used to playing next to each other anymore. You might be used to having a head-to-head setup where you can't hear that stuff. But, it's something that I definitely use. I pay attention to that. I do it all the time when I'm playing Super Turbo and I'm playing Honda, and I mash kicks rather than punches so that my opponent thinks that I'm doing hands, but I'm not. Something that goes back all the way to the start of fighting games in tournaments. Let's see. Also had a question from Tong Lung, which I don't remember if I've answered before, so I'm just going to do it now. Hey, I was wondering if it was possible for Capcom to nerf gems, because here in the UK, that would be illegal, he thinks, because on the DLC, the gems, it tells you what the gems do, and if Capcom nerfs them, it would be illegal because you're not getting what you paid for due to the description listed. I was wondering if Capcom is somehow able to avoid this. It's not illegal for them to change things like that. They have a terms of agreement, an end user license agreement, or EULA, that includes the fact that they can change the game with DLC and I'm not sure. I've never looked this up. Actually, now I think I probably should, to see whether Xbox or whether Microsoft and Sony have that same kind of thing when you buy an Xbox or a PlayStation. I would imagine that they have some kind of language allowing them to alter games after they come out. So it's really kind of a contract that you implicitly agree to. Whenever you open up a game and play the game, you're implicitly agreeing, okay, whatever's in this end-user license agreement, I am agreeing to, and included in that is the fact that you can, that Capcom can, or whoever, can change the game retroactively with DLC. So, I think that was about it. There were some requests that I analyzed certain things in the future that I think are pretty good ideas, so I'll get to that at some point. There was one more thing that, again, I'm not sure if I have answered or not, but Dylan McGahee says that he wonders, when streaming, why don't people talk freely about money matches? People will correct others and say Monopoly money or similar phrases, but it's common knowledge that in the main tournaments everyone pays an entrance fee and you can win real money, so why is a two-man tournament with a cash prize not allowed to be discussed, but a 200-man tournament is fine? I mean, it's sort of the mix of two things. One of them is kind of a joke. We think it's funny to talk about Monopoly money and the like when we know that somebody is actually side betting or doing a money match. But the other thing is that is against the rules in some cases and illegal in others. Having bets like that. Tournaments can oftentimes get around that by kind of disassociating the main payout from the direct entrance. That works in some situations, but just having like a direct battle where you put up the money and you have a game which some jurisdictions don't consider a game of skill, or in some jurisdictions it doesn't matter whether the game is of skill or not, you can't have a bet on it. That's it. It's kind of the combination of those two. I don't think anybody's too worried that the feds are going to jump in, or even that the local police is going to jump in. That's not really a concern. It's just, you might as well not talk about it, and while you're not talking about it, might as well make jokes about it. But we definitely have been talking about it. I mean, James and I had a whole panel at EVO about the Fnatic versus Ray Ray money match, right? So, I mean, we do talk about it. It's not like it's taboo, but, you're right. We do often make those jokes, and those are the reasons why. So, okay. I think that is about it. Please check us out this weekend at the Capcom 25th anniversary tournament. Like I said, information about that is on the front page of SureYouCan.com. Was posted there earlier today. I'm sure there'll be more stuff about it coming up. It's in Austin, Texas. If you're in the area, check it out or go play. Also, of course, James and I will be back tomorrow for the Tuesday show. We'll come up with a name for it, I guess, at some point, and maybe have a topic for it. I don't know. At some point, maybe we'll have something like that. We'll see. But in the meantime, thanks a lot for tuning in on the Monday First Attack and the Level 3 Focus shows. It's the first time that we've gotten back to normalcy here in a long time. I think like early June maybe was the last time. Not even. It was before that. I think it was like late May that we had like a normal situation going on where we were both here and also both doing individual shows. So cool to get back to that. Thanks a lot for watching, and check us out tomorrow at 8 p.m. on the same channel.